Policy, LLC, and Senior Fellow of the America First Policy Institute, Kenneth Timmerman. Thank you both so much for being there. Claire, Claire, I want to start off with you. Where do you see this conflict heading now, as the president's deadline is just hours away?
Well, good morning, Tracy. Good to be with you. It is doubtful to me, at least, that the remains of this Iranian regime will agree to President Trump's terms. Opening the Strait of Hormuz, first among those, but there is a longer list of demands that the United States has put forward, conditions that the whatever's left of the regime is unlikely to agree to. I do hope, though, that what the president means is not the end of Iranian or Persian civilization, but rather maybe the end of this regime that has been so oppressive to its own people and a terror to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Kenneth, I want to bring you in now. What do you think? Your thoughts on what we might see happening tonight?
Well, what we don't know is how real these negotiations are. I think Claire is right that the rump regime that we're seeing now, all IRGC officers, okay, these people have been around forever. Two of them, Kalibov and Vahidi, they were involved in the 9/11 attacks. They were providing assistance to the Al-Qaeda hijackers before the 9/11 attacks. So these people are the worst of the worst. The regime has not changed, as the president has said, but you do have people like Pezeshkian, who is the president. There are reports that there's an increasing rift between him and the IRGC. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be a coup inside the ruling elite in Tehran tonight before 8 o'clock. But if there's not, bad things are going to happen. Very, very bad things are going to happen to them.
Yeah, and the clock is ticking, as we know. Now, reports say the U.S. military is carrying out additional strikes on military targets on Iran's Karg Island, according to a U.S. official. But adding the strikes did not impact oil infrastructure. Claire, can you talk to us more about that and military action on Karg Island?
Yeah, so we know, of course, that Karg Island is the key export hub for Iran's oil industry. And it had been struck previously to eliminate some of the defense, IRGC defense positions there. This, I think, is additional to that. It is preparing perhaps for the takeover of Karg Island. Not destruction of all its piping and storage tanks infrastructure, but rather to take it over and remove its income possibility, its funding stream to whatever's left of this Iranian regime. There are other islands in around the Strait of Hormuz, Abu Musa, the Greater and Lesser Tunbs, Leshk Island, Larak Island, that also could be additional targets in the likelihood, I think, that military force will be needed to force the opening of the Strait of Hormuz. Recall, of course, that the United States has two marine expeditionary units in and around the Persian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, with thousands of Marines on board, helicopters, vertical takeoff, Osprey jets, and so forth. They may be called into whatever is to happen after tonight's deadline.
Yeah, and that clock is ticking for that deadline, as we know. President Trump saying, open the strait, or we're going to bomb your infrastructure. And he is serious about it, it seems. Iran says the only way they're going to do that, the only way they're going to open the strait, is a permanent end to all military action and the lifting of all actions that U.S. give Iran money to rebuild, and also allow Iran to control the strait so that it can regulate or they can toll the traffic there. Kenneth, do you see that happening? And the president is saying, hey, we are not extending this deadline.
It looks like a pretty firm deadline. And we have other things that we can do, not just bombing. This week, the State Department revoked the political asylum and the green card status of the niece and grandniece of Qasem Soleimani, right, the head of the Quds Force that we took out in January 3rd of 2000. There are reports that they've now rounded up another 4,000 regime officials in this country who have legal status. This goes at the heart of their legitimacy. The UAE at the beginning of the conflict said they were going to seize $350 billion of Iranian regime assets. I would like to see them do that. That would really strike at the heart of the regime. They think that if they survive this battle, if they stay alive, they win because they still have the money outside. They still have these corrupt financial resources and networks. If we destroy those, we cut off their lifeline. And I think that is just as important as going after Karg Island.
Yeah, Claire, let me ask you this. Do you think the time for diplomacy is over?
No, I don't think it's over. I do think that there is a two-track policy going on between diplomacy and negotiations. Every last chance being given to whatever's left of the regime to come to an agreement under negotiations with the conditions the United States has set forward. And the second track, of course, more and more impending now, the threat of very serious military action. I might add here very quickly that when President Trump threatens to attack the power stations and also the bridges in Iran, I think we have to understand that there are not two sets of infrastructure in Iran. These facilities are dual use. They are used by the military and also they support the civilian infrastructure too. But when a facility like a power station or a bridge is used for military purposes, it becomes a legitimate military target. Don't want to see that happen. As President Trump says, the Iranian people have suffered enough. But if that's what it takes to bring down this regime finally, those are legitimate targets.
Yeah, and Kenneth, as we know, Iran said they're asking their young people to form this like human chain around the power plants. Talk to us about that.
Well, why should we be surprised? That's what they had Hamas do in Gaza. This is the way that they behave. Okay, they sent children with plastic keys around their necks during the Iran-Iraq war to clear the minefields. These were 12 and 13-year-old kids. I wrote about that in my book, and the rest is history. This is the thing that they do. There's already video of these human shields out there, people lining the bridges and the rest. Look, I don't for a moment expect the U.S. military to take out a bridge or a power plant that has human shields around it. I think they've got lots of other targets and lots of other methods of going after them. For example, we have what's called a graphite bomb at the BLU Fort 114. This is not a kinetic explosive bomb, but it puts out graphite or graphene particles which short circuit the power lines, the high tension power lines, and basically take down the power plants, render them inoperable. They do not blow things up on the ground. So I think we're going to do things to get around that. I guarantee you the military is well aware of the humanitarian aspect here. They're not going to go out and kill civilians, but there are lots of other ways to get around that.
Yeah, and the president's saying he's not at all concerned about committing possible war crimes as he continues to threaten the destruction of these bridges and these power plants over in Iran if the country does not meet his deadline to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Here's a little bit of what the president had to say.
Mr. President, how would it not be a war crime to strike Iran's bridges and power plants?
Because they killed 45,000 people in the last month, more than that. It could be as much as 60. They kill protesters, they're animals.
All right, Claire, let's talk a little bit more about that, why that wouldn't be considered a war crime.
Well, I have to say first, I agree completely with Ken that the United States military is not going to rain down bombs and explosives on bridges or power stations that are being surrounded by civilian human shields. And as well, as he pointed out, there are many other methods by which such facilities can be disabled. The other thing maybe to keep in mind is that this would not perhaps be the first time that President Trump and our intelligence community, have engaged in some deception to point the way to perhaps these targets, and in fact, the actual assault will be elsewhere. That's what I'm thinking about perhaps tonight. No, we will not be bombing bridges surrounded by children.
Yeah, Claire, that is an excellent point, the deception campaign that you bring up. Claire, Kenneth,
Yep.
great to be with you both and get your insights. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.